Welcome to another episode of Diary of a Wannabe Comedian with me, Belle, a wannabe comedian. I have some creative news actually. I did Logan Murray's course on Saturday and we did an exercise where you introduce the next person, but you say this person can't come for whatever reason, make up a silly reason. And then you say, but we've got a stand-in, and then you have to make up something they can do. And the more difficult you make it for them, the funnier it is. So, someone who, I picked, the one I picked was they are an expert in the Chinese-German trade deal, and they deliver it in the style of Carry On. With a little bit of beatbox thrown in for good measure. So that was kind of what I did for somebody. Anyway, the one I got was, I can't remember exactly what she called me, but it was, I think it might have been Dr. Flamingo, but it was something Flamingo. Let's say Dr. Flamingo, the naughty magician. That's who I was. I wasn't very good, I'll be honest, because all the kitchen stuff is playing on my mind. But what I did do is I got on stage and I did the Flamingo. The ladies in my family will know what this means, because I realised that I haven't done this for years. Essentially, whenever I stood at the kitchen, say doing the washing up or something like that, I would stand on one leg with the other leg resting on my kneecap, just like a flamingo. And I was able to just do it. I was like blown away. I don't know why I did it. Just provoked a memory, and there I was, and it's like, my goodness, I haven't done that for years. So that is testament to my knee surgeon, I think. Has to be, doesn't it? A little bit with me, because I was very good with my exercises when I had my knee replaced, but I was very chuffed to be able to do that. But while we're on the subject of magicians, it's quite pertinent actually. I came across an article that I thought I would tell you about. Very interesting. So let me just read you the opening paragraph. I'll read you a few paragraphs, but this is the opening one. We've all probably heard stories about creative individuals who are brilliant in their field, but otherwise haunted by deep inner torment. The late comedian Robin Williams and the iconic painter Vincent van Gogh are probably among the most recognisable examples. But is creativity always associated with higher levels of psychopathology? Well, new research has found one profession that seems to buck the trend. Magicians. Then it goes on to say, the connection between mental health and creativity have fascinated researchers for decades. Previous studies have shown that members of creative groups such as comedians, artists, and scientists often score high on psychotic traits than the norm. STEM scientists score higher for autistic traits. However, this latest research has found that magicians' mental health, despite the highly creative nature of their profession, scores far lower for some psychiatric traits than the norm. And then, which I found fascinating. And then, they do go on a bit later on to say that the sample that they used was slightly older, so that could have impacted it. But I'm sure there's something in it. But there's a little bit more. Now, what is it? There's a bit I don't agree with, which I'll come to. Here we are. The authors of the report, the authors also added that magicians scored low on impulsive nonconformity, a trait that is associated with antisocial behaviour and lower self-control. These traits are valuable for many creative groups, such as writers, poets and comedians, whose creative acts are often edgy and challenge the conventional wisdom. And then the final bit that I wanted to read you, which I don't agree with, is, here we are. The relatively low scores for members of this profession, i.e. we're talking about magicians now, could be beneficial for their work, as a tendency towards psychotic and autistic traits could be counterproductive for their performances and technical skill. Magicians are unusual among creative groups in that they often create and perform their work, whereas other creatives tend to do one or the other. Tosh, complete tosh. I'm afraid comedians have to do the whole lot. They literally do the writing, the editing, the performing, the direction, the wardrobe, everything. Comedians do the lot. So I don't really agree with that bit of the article. But isn't that interesting? Don't you think that's interesting? I'm not really surprised that there's high levels of mental health issues, shall we say, amongst comedians. I mean, you only have to do one night in the open mic circuit just to hear all the various drugs that everybody's on for their mental health. Everything ending with zine. And yeah, I think there's something in that. Not me, of course. I'm perfectly sane. The fact that I did a podcast every day of my life for an entire year, I mean, that's perfectly sane, isn't it? Right, well, I definitely have a gig this week and I have to do it and not cancel it. So tune in on Thursday to find out how I get on. Much love and gratitude.